My name is Edward Sapiano, and I'm a lawyer. When I graduated from law school 13 years ago, I thought I had paid my dues, but the hardest part was still to come. We're going to watch 4 aspiring lawyers in a 12-month test by fire called articling. Will they crash and burn, or be transformed into the real thing? Quinn Ross is incredibly driven, but instead of big money law firms, he's opted for quality of life. He's chosen to live and work with his parents in a rural law firm.
I don't want to look like an ass in front of my parents' colleagues.
But Quinn loves a challenge.
It's wartime, it's go time.
Can a small town serve Quinn's ambitions, or will his goals change? Aisha Chaudry is a recent immigrant with 2 preschool children. She lives with her husband's extended family.
I'm misbehaving. Who is Tom?
Working at a legal aid clinic with disadvantaged people in crisis is more than just a job.
It's a reflection of my faith.
But can she juggle home and work?
All I want to do is just rest.
Or will she be forced to make a choice? Bill Thompson is a sweet, middle-class idealist from the suburbs who's committed to defending the underdog.
Important kind of situation to try to defend the little guy.
Articling at one of Canada's top criminal law firms, he's about to enter a whole other world.
This is where the rubber hits the road.
Will his lofty principles survive the year?
Haven't become an alcoholic or anything like that yet.
Christine Wiseman is insecure, but ambitious. She's the only professional in her working-class family. Now she's articling at a corporate law firm, but she's terrified the law's not for her.
I don't want to do it.
Her fiancé Kevin is in for a rough ride.
But Kevin!
If she quits, 4 years of blood, sweat, and tears go down the drain. In this episode of Almost Legal,
You were videotaping the whole thing?
Bill uncovers a key piece of evidence that could save his client from a 5-year prison sentence.
Ooh, ooh, right in the coconut.
Wife is saying, 1, 2, 3.
And Aisha struggles to prevent a deaf refugee client from being deported.
It's hard to say with him what will happen.
Bill Thompson has left suburban life for the fast pace of the big city. He's articling at one of Canada's top criminal law firms. Bill's definitely a keener, but maybe a little naive.
Yeah, as a kid, I liked to read the Hardy Boys. Yeah, I think that was sort of maybe my first career goal. That sort of idea of being a detective and following the clues to have the big final chapter conclusion where you solve the whodunit.
As a criminal lawyer, I can tell you, Bill's playing with the big boys. The senior partners at Sack Goldblatt Mitchell are among Canada's leading defense lawyers. Frank Addario is his mentor.
I think it's a bit too soon to say whether he's got the fire in the belly. He's got a very healthy attitude.
This is where all of the grand ideas of preserving people's individual liberties, this is where the rubber hits the road.
Bill is where he wants to be. But very few people have what it takes to do criminal law. The question is, does Bill? Most articling students are overwhelmed by just the job. Aisha Chaudry faces an even more challenging situation. Newly married with 2 small kids, she had to make the difficult decision to put her 3-year-old son, Danish, in daycare.
He doesn't like it that much that he's really happy about going. He's always asking, where are we going? And then I talk to him about school, so he's sort of accepted that he's going there.
Aisha used to be a lawyer in England. Immigrating to Canada meant starting all over again.
When I was pregnant, I did my first 2 lot of my equivalency exam. Small kids are doing exams. I don't know how I did it, but...
Aisha has chosen to article at a Toronto legal aid clinic in Flemington Park, one of the most densely populated and ethnically diverse neighborhoods in the city. She'll be handling some difficult cases. And if this isn't enough, now she's late for her first day.
Sorry, I was... All right, thanks. Sorry,
I was worried. I thought maybe you forgot where the place was or something.
Sorry, I was a minute. I didn't have my cell phone on me either, so I couldn't call you.
Okay. Don't be stressed now. It's all right, okay?
Yeah.
Not to worry. Do you want a cup of tea or anything?
Yeah, later on now.
Okay, I'll show you where that is after. So I'll let
Marjorie Hilly is Aisha's supervisor.
yeah.
22 years at the clinic.
And then I'll come
She
back.
knows the
Alrighty, I'll
ropes.
just try to see what's going on here. You'll basically be doing cases, and you'll be
Under your supervision first, yeah?
Oh yeah,
Sort of,
yeah,
yeah.
sort of. As much as I can give you.
Yeah.
You know, but not to be nervous.
Yeah.
But particularly with
Clients who
intake,
come
you
to the
really
clinic
don't know,
are often at the end of their rope.
who's doing what. If you feel that there's something that you're not happy with or you're uncomfortable with or getting aggressive because they don't like your advice, for instance, then just say, oh, I'm just going to go and check on that point or something, and then open the door, leave it open, go out and seek a supervisor.
It's a bit about clients possibly attacking you. That's something I didn't sort of immediately think of. Of course it can happen, but...
As a criminal lawyer, I'm prepared for surprises. That's the job. Nothing scripted. At SGM, right off the bat, Bill landed a big case. A protester charged with assaulting a cop.
Hi, Bill, can you come in when you get a chance? Okay, we did some prep. What we really need are witnesses.
Okay.
Start making phone calls and see who knows who and who was nearby.
Zach Goldblatt Mitchell, who works for Francaderio. Obviously, we prefer if you'd be willing to come to court. Hi, John. It's Bill Thompson calling.
Trying to find witnesses is often
court.
discouraging.
Hi, Andrew. It's Bill Thompson calling. I've spoken with Carl, and he was saying that you attended
But sometimes
a
it
protest
pays
with
off
him,
big time.
a couple of weeks ago. So you were videotaping the whole thing? Wow.
For an
Okay,
articling
and,
student to turn up
what
video
was the-
evidence is a major coup.
Hey, Greg.
This is what gets you points with
Well,
the
I've
boss.
been calling around to the witnesses that we've been sort of tracking down in this protester case.
Yep.
And, you know, there are a bunch that...
This is video.
So this is the cop here,
Yeah, where's our boy?
right there.
Ooh.
Pow. Yeah.
Ooh, right in a coconut.
Yeah, and he doesn't do anything to, instigate
Let me
that.
see that again.
Yep.
This tape backs up their client's story. He says the cop hit him.
There's no editing, according to him. He hasn't done anything to it. It's just a matter of turning the camera on and off at various points during the demonstration.
All right, okay. Well, he can tell that story to the judge.
If Frank is going to use this video as evidence, he has to be 100% sure that it hasn't been edited.
I think we get him in,
Okay.
The prosecution will argue that their client provoked the cop.
try to find out from him what was taking place just before the cut.
Bill has to investigate what happened before the camera was turned on.
Good work.
Okay. Thanks.
Adios.
Yep.
Aisha's client faces assault charges too. But instead of jail, he could be deported back to Angola. 4 young lawyers, 12 months, in a test by fire called articling. Bill went into criminal law to defend the underdog. He got his wish. His first case is a protester accused of assaulting a police officer. But it looks like the cop punched him. Aisha hits the ground running, juggling home and work.
Don't be stressed now.
Working at a Toronto legal aid clinic, she's going to be dealing with some tough cases this year. Aisha's first case is a deaf client from Angola seeking refugee status.
Wife is there.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
His wife was sponsoring him until she charged him with assault.
This is not sworn.
His case just got much more complicated.
But the criminal, she is arranging.
It may seem like things are under control, but Aisha has to find a criminal lawyer who'll work for free.
So you're gonna get on to class then,
Yeah,
just to
I'll
see,
do-
because
I'll
I'm
do
not
that
sure
now.
what they can handle.
I don't know what we're gonna do with him if class won't take that
We're
case.
gonna have to look for a pro bono.
Good luck. Pushing is not a bad thing to do if you're a deaf person. That's
No.
how you get somebody's
No.
attention. And if you really need to get their attention, then you have to really give them a good push.
And his wife is deaf too.
Yes, so I mean, this would be a normal way of communicating for them, would be to grab somebody's shoulders and sort of shake them
Emphasize
to get their attention.
Well, sure,
So he's got a tough road ahead of him, I'm afraid.
very much so.
Bill's client is charged with assaulting a police officer, but he claims the cop punched him. Bill has to be certain his client's testimony will hold up in court.
So the only contact then you initiated would be just when you reached out to touch his shoulder or
That's
touch his arm to tell him whatever, don't push me, that kind of thing.
Right, exactly.
Okay. And where are you?
That's me. He just pushed.
Okay.
That's me trying to get his attention. That's him punching me.
And
It happens very quickly.
Yeah. That looks really bad, where he's like leaning right on your head like that.
As you can tell, he had absolutely no reason to push me. I was not in his way.
Do you see anybody in this that you recognize that we can maybe try to track down?
That guy there,
Yeah.
he's actually in our program.
Which one?
He's off screen right now. Him right there with the backpack.
Okay. So, and would you have contact information for him?
Oh, absolutely.
See one that we can track down?
Sure.
Okay. Like this guy with the red flag, I think he'd be another one that's helpful because he turns right around and sees a fair bit of what's going on. So if we can find him, I think that would be good as well.
Pictures don't lie. The witnesses are on tape.
Okay.
Now all Bill has to do is find them and convince them to talk. And that's never easy.
Sometimes the person's just not comfortable telling the story in the context of a big Bay Street office. If you call a witness who has no connection to your client, I would say it's mostly luck whether they call back and you can explain to them that this is the kind of thing that could happen to them. And if it did happen to them, that they would want anyone that could help to come forward and tell their part of the story.
Bill's building a strong case. He's a long way from playing a hardy boy. His photos of the crime scene need to count in the real world.
We've got a police officer saying things happened one way. We've got a videotape, and we've got 6 witnesses that say it happened a different way. I mean, to pack the whole court up and move them to the actual site, and then you can have the witnesses say, well, they're standing right here, we can measure it and figure it all out. Unfortunately, courts aren't really that mobile. Hopefully, the police officer, when he gets onto the stand, will say, you know, it was a very intense situation, there was a lot of stuff going on, and maybe I made a mistake. Because I think that's probably what happened.
Sounds like wishful thinking. Police officers rarely change their story on the stand.
I'm misbehaving.
Aisha's home life takes a toll on her work.
I might have to be a little more forceful about having her take on more stress here.
4 young lawyers, 12 months, in a test by fire called articling. Bill's uncovered video evidence to help defend their client accused of assaulting a cop. Pretty good for an articling student, but the case still can go either way. They're challenging the statement of a cop. Aisha's committed to defending the disadvantaged. That's why she chose to work at a legal aid clinic. But her first case is an uphill battle. A deaf refugee client facing an assault charge and possibly deportation. A criminal record would disqualify his refugee application. But Aisha moves ahead in the event he's found not guilty.
We need to make it a little more sympathetic. All right.
All right, okay. I wasn't sure how much.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, no, you gotta push these guys about his unique circumstances, okay? And that it's a crap charge, and that, you know, it's just one of those things in life. I mean, the system is good, but I just find she's quiet. She's not an extrovert, but if she wants to get into immigration, you do have to be speaking to immigration officers, making your pitch, be persuasive at a tribunal, this sort of thing. So that's something that we'll be developing over the next few months with her. You see, he's from Angola. Angola really sucks. And
He'll have to be going without his wife's backing.
yes, it's going to go without his wife's backing, and then when this gets sorted out in the next year or so, then we'll put the wife
Take that
in.
long.
Yeah,
All right,
okay.
that is true. Yeah.
I think that a lot of her energies have been used in the family situation. No, see, this is done wrong. I don't think she's sort of wanting to put herself into stressful situations here because this is the antidote for the stress that she's feeling with the personal life.
I'm misbehaving.
After an exhausting day at the clinic, Aisha can do anything but unwind.
Sometimes it is quite hard. Sometimes I come home in the evening and I feel that I'm too tired, ready to play with my children. And all I want to do is just rest, which obviously I can't do. You have to manage your time, and basically you don't really waste a minute.
She also lives with her husband's extended family, 7 adults and 4 children. Talk about a full house.
I come from a small family, parents and 2 sisters. And I find it quite noisy in the beginning.
I mean, I knew it was going to be busy for her, really, especially with 2 kids, right? I don't know if she knew she was going to be that busy. she wasn't expecting that. I wanted to go out there and conquer the world. If she can.
Bill's done all the legwork on the cop assault case. Now comes the test. Will their defense stand up in court?
I'm a little nervous in the sense that obviously I'm the one that's pretty much prepared all of this material for Frank. And so if something went wrong, then I guess that would be kind of on my head as well. Section 270 of the code is assaulting an officer. Yeah, so the maximum sentence is a term of 5 years in prison.
At this stage, all you can do is organize your materials.
There was a duplication.
You either have the goods or you don't.
And he's prepared to tell us where he was and where
Mm-hmm.
the female officer was.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yeah,
Okay. Awesome. We're done then, huh?
I think so. Is there anything else that we need to do?
We're ready.
Yep. This is sort of the first thing that I've been working on that's actually gotten to the stage of going to trial. I think there'll be plenty more of these between now and retirement. So, you know, it's important in the sense that this is the first one where I'll get to see what I've done culminate in the actual final product in the courtroom. It's a really interesting case, one where the client is very sympathetic and we're definitely right on this one.
But being right doesn't win you the case. You have to prove it. Not easy, especially when you're up against the cop. 4 young lawyers, 12 months, with a test by fire called articling. Working his first criminal case, Bill's helped build a strong defense for his client accused of punching a cop. His boss will argue the case in court and cross-examine the police officer. Bill better have his facts right. Aisha's been handed a difficult case. A deaf refugee client facing assault charges after a domestic dispute. A criminal record would bar him from immigrating to Canada, but the case is about to take a positive turn. Aisha's client and his wife have reconciled. She's agreed to sponsor his refugee application.
You shut the door.
It won't be easy, but at least now Aisha has a chance of helping to keep this family together.
Yeah, do you want to do some colouring? There you go. The main thing is if you don't have a sign interpreter there, well, the communication is obviously the difficulty because out of habit you might just speak to them, and then you realize that they can't hear you, so then you feel then you have to tap them on the shoulder.
I think she's going to have to come back because this isn't being done very well. Like here it hasn't been filled out.
Yeah.
Okay.
She fill it out over here, doesn't she?
Yeah. I think the child is having some issues. Friday.
Aisha has a long road ahead of her with this client. Completing the forms is just the first hurdle.
That's always the risk with immigration clients, that you could spend years and years working with them and and suddenly there's something happens and they're deported.
Aisha will have completed her year at the clinic long before this case resolves. In many ways, it's a thankless job. Will she find a reason to stick with it? Our camera wasn't allowed in the courtroom, but as expected, the police officer stuck to his story. He testified their client assaulted him.
Doesn't feel great because I don't think anyone felt great in that courtroom watching him tell a story that was completely at odds with what we know from the videotape happened. I mean, in this case, there was nowhere for me to go. I mean, he was telling a story that was completely at odds with what we knew to be the truth.
But Frank's a pro. He questioned the police officer before showing the videotape.
One of the things that I thought was interesting about this case is the sort of strategic use of the video.
He had told one account in his notes. It was a very vague account. He could have walked away from it if he'd chosen to. As you saw, he didn't. He decided to...
If anything, he built it up even more.
He embellished it and planted his feet firmly in the cement.
The police officer lost all credibility, and the prosecution withdrew the charge.
It was an important kind of situation to try to defend the little guy. Our client was there exercising his right to free speech on an issue, a political issue that he thought was very important, and got beaten up by the police in the process. To think that I had a hand in helping make sure that they had a right to voice that concern, yeah, it was very rewarding.
Maybe in the wrong building.
Christine Wiseman's in the dog days of articling. She's not happy. Can she stick it out?
Yeah, it's definitely not all about winning in court.
Ready for it?
To get loud.
And Quinn deals with saving lives. If he can't save this shelter, all these dogs will be put to death.
It's wartime, it's go time.